A global energy lifeline is hanging by a thread and the countdown is almost over. The clock is ticking. The Strait of Hormuz crisis would reshape the world economy overnight. The Strait of Hormuz, one of the most critical oil routes in the world, is now at the center of a rapidly escalating conflict between the United States and Iran. So, as the deadline set by Donald Trump approaches, the world is watching closely because what happens next could impact fuel prices, global trade, and even the risk of a wider war. The Strait of Hormuz connects the Persian Gulf to the open ocean, and around one-fifth of the world's oil supply passes through this single route. That means any disruption here does not just affect one region, it shakes the entire global economy. Right now, shipping through the strait is heavily disrupted and energy prices are already rising. In recent weeks, tensions between the US and Iran have spiraled into open conflict. Missile strikes, infrastructure damage, and casualties have been reported across multiple countries in the region. Now, despite calls for calm, Iran has refused to reopen the strait and has rejected ceasefire proposals. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has issued a stark warning: reopen the route or face severe military consequences. The rhetoric has only intensified. Trump has openly threatened to target key infrastructure inside Iran, including bridges and power plants. At the same time, the United Nations has warned that such actions could violate international law, especially if civilian infrastructure is hit. So now the big question is, what happens next? Now there are three main ways the strait can be reopened. The first and the most immediate possibility, a ceasefire deal. Under this scenario, Iran could agree to reopen the Strait of Hormuz at least on a temporary basis while negotiations continue. And on the surface, this sounds like the simplest solution, but there is a catch. Iran would still control the waterway. Now, experts say Tehran could impose informal restrictions or costs on ships passing through. That means oil might keep flowing, but at a higher price and under constant uncertainty. And so far, Iran has shown little willingness to compromise. The second option is far more dangerous, which is a direct US-led military intervention. Now, this would involve deploying naval forces to clear any blockades, escort oil tankers, and possibly even expand operations inside Iranian territory. The US already has a large military presence in the region, so this is not just theoretical, but the risks are enormous. Such a move could trigger a wider regional war, drawing in other countries and leading to heavy casualties. And so far, Washington appears cautious, especially without strong support from its allies. Now that brings us to the third path, a global coordinated response. The United Nations Security Council has already taken steps to address maritime security in the region. Now, in this scenario, a multinational coalition could be formed to secure the strait and ensure safe passage for ships. Countries like the UK and Australia could contribute forces, but there is key limitation. This kind of operation would likely only happen if active fighting slows down. In other words, it's more of a fallback plan than an immediate solution. Now, here's something very important to understand. Even if the Strait of Hormuz reopens, things may not go back to normal. Iran's geography gives its long-term control over this choke point. This crisis has exposed just how vulnerable global energy supply chains really are. A single disruption can ripple across economies worldwide, affecting everything from fuel prices to food costs. And with the deadline now just hours away, there's still no clear resolution. Will there be a last-minute diplomatic breakthrough, or are we about to see a dangerous new phase in this conflict? The answer could shape not just the region but the global economy for months or even years to come.